study of life, or biology, provides the opportunity for us to see the wonderment of God in all His creations. As we experience the vast array of living organisms, do you ever stop to wonder how God came up with so many ideas and designs? This section of biology allows us to take a look at different kingdoms of organism. The squid belongs to the kingdom Animalia, the phylum Mollusca, and the class Cephalopod. But there are over 300 different species of squids.
Today in lab, we're going to examine the external features of the long fin inshore squid. And you won't need very many supplies. You'll find them in your biology drawer. And what you will need first and foremost is a pair of goggles. You will need to put those goggles on throughout the examination of the squid, and you will need to leave them on until your entire station is cleaned up, and then you can remove them as you leave the lab. The other items that you will want to have is a pair of gloves, and you can find those at the teacher's station. And in your drawer, you will also find a pair of scissors, and you will need the lab dissection manual that I handed out in class, and a pencil, and that's all you'll need for today's lab. So the external features of the squid are actually very basic, and they include the fins, the mantle, the siphon, we will take a closer look at. Here's the siphon right here. And they also include the eyes. Here's an eye and an eye here. And as you can see, it has short arms and then long tentacles that end in club feet. And on each of the arms and tentacles, you will see little suckers or suction cups. All right, let's return to the fins. So these fins are flap-like appendages that are actually used primarily for steering and stabilizing. They are attached to the dorsal side of the mantle, and you can see that these are located posteriorly and extend only part of the way down the mantle. Now this is different than the cuttlefish. In the cuttlefish, the fins will extend the entire length of the mantle. Now notice the mantle. It's very soft and pliable. There's no outer shell like there is with a nautilus. It's very pliable. It's part of the main squid body, and it encloses the mantle cavity. And the mantle cavity is what holds the internal organs of the squid. If you look very closely on the mantle, you'll see tiny little dots. And those dots are called chromatophores. So as you can see, the little dots all over the mantle of the squid, those are the chromatophores, and they contain pigment-rich, light-reflecting cells. Each of the chromatophores do, and then they're ringed in muscle. And when the muscles contract, the area of the pigment gets smaller, and when the muscles relax, the area of the pigment grows. And this is one of the mechanisms squids use to camouflage themselves by changing color. And they can do this in the presence of an external threat. The squid's eyes are generally quite large compared to the size of the head. So if you were to compare the size of eyes to the size of the head in other animals, these are proportionately larger than other creatures. And it is believed they don't have rods and cones, so they don't see color. But they also don't have a blind spot in the back of their eye. So it is believed that the squid is able to see all around it, and have a complete view of the objects that will be around them or might approach them. If you follow down past the eyes, you come to the short arms. And the arms are just used to hold on to the prey when it's captured, and it can be brought to the mouth by the arms. The tentacles, on the other hand, which are much longer than the arms, are actually used to strike out and capture the prey. So very important part of the squid. And as you can see on the end of the tentacles, there are many suction cups, and these suction cups are incredibly fascinating. Each suction cup has tooth-like rings around it, and it's on a stalk, and it is used literally like a suction cup to hold prey. And it's not only on the ends of the tentacles, but as I mentioned earlier, also on the short arms. So that sums up the external features of the squid. Next lab will cover the internal features. And what you need to do now is to turn to the lab handout that I've given you on the external anatomy for squid dissection, and follow each of the numbers on the first page, and make sure you answer the questions according to what you observe. Also, make sure you sketch an external view of the squid and label all the parts that are underlined above, and that's due next class period.